Okay, welcome to your third lesson on statistics in this unit. So we're going to look today at frequency tables and how we can apply the mean, median, mode and range to frequency tables. Now for this, realistically, you're not going to need your calculator again today because I'm not going to ask you to actually do these calculations. The reason we're going through this is so that you can understand what it is that your calculator is doing. But when it actually comes to doing the calculations in the exam, you can get your calculator to do this for you, and it will be much quicker and much more accurate. Okay, so first of all, I'd just like you to have a look at example 3 on page 47 and just have a good read through it, because this is the data that we're going to be talking about this lesson. Once you've had a read through, I'd like you to decide what kind of data we're talking about. Is it quantitative or qualitative? Is it continuous or discrete? Do we have a whole population or just a sample of the population? And is it likely to be random or biased? Once you've answered those, you can then create a table like this for the data and complete that table. Pause the video here until you've done all three of those things. Read through the example, answered what kind of data it is, and drawn your frequency table. Okay, so you should have a frequency table that looks a bit like this, but obviously with the tallies in between. I took the tallies out to give me a little bit more space on the screen. So the first thing you'll notice is that you've got a column here for the number of sweets in each bag. So this column represents any number of sweets that was found in a bag. So I appear to only have the spread between 20, 21, 22, 23 to 24. If I was unlucky and I got a bag that only had 13 sweets in, I'd need the number 13 in there as well. But I wouldn't need 14, 15, 16, anything up until I get to 20. I just need the numbers in here which represent the bags that I actually found. So if I found then a bag that had 40 sweets in, I'd need the number 40 down here, but I wouldn't need any of the numbers between 24 and 40 because I hadn't found any bags with that number of sweets in. The second column is your frequency column. So how many bags contained that many sweets? So 2 bags had 20 sweets in. 3 bags had 21 sweets in. 13 bags had 22 sweets in. 4 bags had 23 sweets in. And 2 bags had 24 sweets in. By adding all of these up, I can find how many bags were in my sample. So the sample here contains 24 bags of sweets. Okay, so with this kind of data, finding the mode is really straightforward. Because we've got our frequency table here, you can literally see which one is the most common. There were 13 bags containing 22 sweets. That's far higher than any other number of sweets. So 22 is the mode. Be careful not to quote the frequency. This isn't the mode here. This is just the number of bags that contained that many sweets. So 22 is the mode. But what about the median? We want to find the middle value. That's a little bit more tricky when you've got a frequency table. So the first thing I'm going to do is look down here at my total. In total, I have 24 bags, sorry. So I want to find the bag that's right in the middle of those 24 bags. To do that, I do the total plus 1, so in this case 24 plus 1 gives me 25, and divide it by 2. So I want to find the 12.5 position. I could do this by just counting 3. So I've got 1, 2 bags here, 3, 4, 5 bags here, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Obviously the 12.5 half bag, it's difficult to say, is going to fall here, in this range here. So the median is again 22. What about the mean then? Again, the mean gets a little bit more difficult because for the mean we want to add together every bag that we have and divide by the total number of bags. But there's a problem with that in that we've put them as a frequency here. So I've got 2 bags containing 20 sweets. So to find out how many sweets there are in total in those 2 bags, I need to multiply 20 by 2. So you need to do your number of sweets multiplied by your frequency. 20 times 2 gives me 40. 21 times 3 gives me 63. 22 times 13 gives me 286. 23 times 4 gives me 92. And 24 times 2 gives me 48. And I can then add all of those together. So in total, in all of my bags, I had 529 sweets. So for the mean now, I do 529 divided by 24, and that gives me my average. There were on average 22 sweets in each bag. So 22 is coming up a lot. And then you have, again, your range. And the range is just the difference between the smallest number of sweets and the largest number of sweets. So 20 to 24, the range is 4. So that one's a nice easy one to calculate. You can see examples of all of these on page 56. It's example 8, and it goes through and describes it. So do have a look in the book if you're confused about any of them. I just want to pop back again to the median here to make sure this gives you your median position. So the total 24 plus 1 divided by 2 gives you your median position. And the median position falls here because I want the 12.5 bag, and that value falls in here. So that means the median is 22. It's not 13. That just tells me how many bags of sweets are in this group. So the median position is here, 22. Okay, so your task for the rest of this lesson is to come up with a survey. And your survey needs to aim to collect data from at least 30 individuals. Now, while that might sound like a lot, you've got the whole school to work with. You're also going to take this home, so you could ask people at home as well. You can ask your friends. So you've got quite a lot of people to work with. The data should be quantitative so that we can analyse it using the GDC. So no eye colour, no favourite colour, favourite pet, things like that. Okay, it needs to be quantitative. It needs to have values associated with it. It should also be discrete. So I don't want you to go out and measure people's heights and come back with a whole range of values. You could do height to the nearest centimetre. That would be discrete because then people can only give you answers in centimetres, whole centimetres. You should also limit your range of values. So you wouldn't ask people, what is your favourite number in the world? Because everyone could give you a different number. And then you're just going to end up with a frequency table with loads of different values and then frequencies of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, because no one has picked the same number. So give them a limit. What is your favourite number between 0 and 50? Okay. The data should be collated into a tally chart first of all, and then a frequency column should be given. So first of all, you're just going to write down your data values. Then you turn it into a tally chart and add a frequency column at the end when you know what values you're working with. You should plan to take a random and unbiased sample. Now, your actual sample may not be random and unbiased, but I want to see in your plan how it would be. So if you're thinking about asking school students how many hours they spent listening to music, for example, you need to be asking students of all ages, not just from year 9. You could limit yourself by saying, how many hours do primary school students spend listening to music, or secondary school students? And that would limit the number of classes that you need to ask. Now, the plan and data collection for this must be finished for next lesson. Please check with me first that the data that you're planning to collect is going to be relevant. If you finish your plan and you showed it to me before the end of this lesson, you can start your data collection today. Now, if that's going to involve going into lessons, that will be fine. You just need to knock first and make sure that you ask. You should have an idea of how many students you want to take, preferably who it is that you want to take, or be able to pick them very, very quickly. You should also be asking them whether they mind participating, so whether they mind giving you that data. Okay, let me know what your plan is before you start data collection. I must see a plan by the end of this lesson from everybody.